Shalom, everybody. Where is Michael? Michael is not here yet.
Michael's going to be joining. We've admitted him. He's going to be joining soon.
Oh, yeah.
He's here.
Maybe, he's not here.
No, he's here.
I'm here, but I don't know what's wrong with the screen.
He's there,
Here, Michael is here, Rene.
But he's not here.
I know, but it's written Michael.
His camera is not on. That's the problem.
I don't know what's going on here. My camera is on.
Camera.
My camera is on. Let me just, I'll go out and go back in.
Michael, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I'm just gonna leave and then come back because my camera didn't load for some reason.
Okay, so as long as you're here, you don't have to see me.
No, but please.
You're not seeing him. We can see you.
Let's please admit Michael.
No, I did, and I admitted him, and I'll admit again. Don't worry.
Because you will see the notification on your screen because I left.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm admitting Michael again.
Maybe I will go get in again.
No, he's admitted. Michael's admitted. It's all good.
Michael.
It's
But
just
still.
his video.
Okay,
His video.
I don't know. Share chat.
How is everybody?
Shalom, Rav.
Baruch Hashem, we're okay. And how are you?
Baruch Hashem, alive. Baruch Hashem.
Is the weather still warming up?
No, it's been very cold actually.
Today was very cold.
Very
Yes,
cold.
it's very cold.
Was very bitter cold.
It
They
was very
said
cold.
tomorrow was going to warm up a little bit. But today...
We had a bit of a heat wave and then it cooled down. Now it's got hot again. Oh.
Okay. So you remember the Gemora is Sota, and we stopped in 33b3. So what happened? Ketzad, just a minute. Ketzad. Yeah. We are talking, the subject is, there is a description how the Jewish people crossed the Yarden River. So this was last week, and now we're going to at the bottom. There is the paragraph in the second column. The Gemora says a braita to discuss the miraculous crossing of the Jordan River. Have you got it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, one sec. Mise. Coming condescending. Hello? Just keep it. So the Rabbi taught us in the Braita, how did Israeli cross Jordan? There is a description of this parade of when the Jews cross Jordan River. Each day, before they cross the Jordan, the Ark, the Aron Kodesh, the Holy Ark, traveled behind two divisions. But when it came now to cross the river, it says this day it traveled first, based on a text that it stated, "Behold, the Ark of the Covenant of the Master of the world, of the entire world, is passing before you in Jordan. This is a quotation. Each day, who were carrying this ark, the entire day before they crossed the Jordan, the Levites, the Leviim, carried the Holy Ark. But now, to cross the river, but this day, the Kohanim carried it. Shenemar, quoting, it shall happen when the soles of the feet of the Kohanim, the bearers of the ark of God, rest, that it will be resting on the river, and it will it will split. Okay. Furthermore, it is taught in the Braita. Rabbi Yossi says, now I'm turning the page, the ark in 3 places. We find that the Kohanim carried the Holy Ark. Which places? 1, when they crossed the Jordan, as we spoke now. The second, when they encircled Jericho. This was later. And the third time, when they returned it to the place in the temple built by King Solomon. So it means in 2-3 different times, occasions, that the ark was carried first, was in the front. There is in the bottom, there's some notes, and there was a process when they came to Jericho, they encircled Jericho in a manner of the utmost sanctity. People, Kohanim, carry 7 shofarot before the ark. Okay, so there are some details that what really wasn't. I'm turning the page. Now, 34A1. So now it's going to continue with this crossing. When the feet of the Kohanim who were carrying the ark became immersed in the water of the Jordan, the water reversed in a course, זאת אומרת, like made a way for them to cross. And as it stated, quotation, when the bearers of the ark arrived at the Jordan at the feet of the Kohanim, the bearers of the ark were immersed in the edge of the water descending from upstream stood still, and they rose up in one column. So imagine the Jordan flowing river. Of course, by miracle, when the Kohanim put down the feet, it stopped, and it turned to be, the water like stood up as a column. And now there is even trying to give how high was this wall of water. What was the height of this column of water? 12 miles by 12 miles, corresponding to the size of the camp of Israel. This was the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. Against it, Rabbi Lazar, the son of Shimon, said to him, according to your opinion, the following difficulty arises. Who is swifter? Who is moving swifter? Is man swifter or the water swifter? Surely the answer is the water is swifter. So he said, if so, the water would come and wash the people away. Because until they managed to pass, the water already would come to its normal size. So therefore, what he says, rather the verse teaches that the waters heaped up even higher, wave upon waves, giving estimate to a height of more than 300 miles. So much so that turning to think about it, huge wall that even the kings of the East and West saw them. As it is states, and there is a quotation, it happened that when all the Amorite kings who were on the western side of the Jordan and all the Canaanite kings who were by the sea heard that Hashem had dried up the Jordan's water for the sake of the children of Israel until they had crossed. What was their reaction? Their hearts melted, and there was no longer spirit within them because of the children of Israel. So in other words, they got a fright that seeing this unusual, unnatural thing, what happened to the water. And adding to it, there is a statement which Rachav the harlot, which I think we mentioned before, when the two spies that Joshua sent to spy before they were conquering Hai. So Rachav said to the Joshua's messengers, for we have heard how Hashem dried up the waters of the Sea of Reeds, which mean Yam Suf, when they crossed the Red Sea, when they went out from Egypt. And it is written in the next verse, we heard and our hearts melted, no spirit remained in any man. So we can just try to imagine how this huge crowd, the whole nation, busy crossing the Jordan. The water was stood up to such a high height, and they are still Israelis are still in the eastern side, and the people in the western side, the king there,
Sorry, Rav, can I just... Michael has joined. Okay.
Oh, Michael, Shalom Aleichem.
Michael, yeah, the video is working. It's good to see you, man.
Okay. So, and he says that the impression that made on them were standing in the other side of the Jordan, the eastern side, they got fright, our hearts melted. This is what they said. So this is now the description how they started to cross the river. Then it continues. While they were still in the river, now I turn the page to 34a2. Then Joshua said to them, "Know with what understanding you are crossing the Jordan, on what condition God is miraculously parting the water to allow you to cross. What is the purpose of that? It is on condition that you will drive out the inhabitants of the land from before. In other words, the Canaanites and the others were inhabitants there, that they should get them out. As it is says, you shall drive out all the inhabitants of the land before you. And made it like a condition. And he says, if you do this, good. However, but if not, then the water will come and wash Oischem away. I don't know why he put it in, he transliterate the Hebrew means you. The water will wash you away. And Gemora now said, what is mean in the word oischem, you? What is the meaning here? What is the meaning of the word osichem used by the Tana in the Braita? Answer the Gemora. It is combination of the word me and etchem. Means like Joshua said, it will wash away me and you. Joshua said, if you don't accept this condition, I together with you will drown in the Jordan. So this is a kind of a condition. Then, continuation. While they were still in the Jordan, Joshua said to them, raise every man one stone upon his shoulder, corresponding to the number of tribes of Israel. We'll see for what purpose. And is it written immediately afterwards? What is the purpose? So that will be a sign in your midst when your children ask tomorrow, saying, what is the meaning of these stones to you? You shall answer, this will be the question, what is the meaning of this stone to you? You will answer that this is a sign for the children that their fathers had crossed the Jordan in a miraculous fashion. So it means, in other words, that it should remain historically known to them, that they should appreciate how miraculous was this crossing. Then the text continues. When they still were in the Jordan, Yeshua said to them, carry for yourselves from here, from within the Jordan, from the station of the feet of the Kohanim. In other words, take the stones on which the Kohanim were walking over that, making ready 12 stones. And you carry to have 12 stones and bring them across with you and set them in the lodging place where you will lodge this night. We see what the purpose. Rabbi Yehuda says that his father, another said, they said they examined those stones. In other words, now giving us idea of what was the size of these stones. Estimated that each one measured about 40 seah. So how much is 40 seah? The note 40 seah is 3 cubic amot, between 10,000, no, sorry, 10.1.5 and 40 cubic feet, depending on the views of various Achronim. And also the question is how to bring it in to us in a way that we understand the weight. But again, it was huge stones, and we see how they actually carried it. The Gemora has, we have an old tradition that the burden stone is capable of lifting onto his shoulder by himself is 1/3 of the weight of the burden he can support if other help him load it. This is a usual accepted thing that a person can carry 1/3 of the weight of the burden he can support if others help him. And from that, they want to calculate. From there, here, you can calculate the size of the cluster of grapes, which was carried by the spice, which we learned before last time. Remember the story when the spice came from Israel and they were carrying grapes, a bunch of grapes, which was carried by the spies when they returned from Eretz Israel to their camp in the wilderness. And now the Gemora tries to work out again more. And as he says, the text says, and they carried it on a pole by two. That the spies, when they carried the grapes, this those by having like two poles, the implication of that, I'll turn the page, the implication that which had been said, and they carried it on a pole. Am I not aware that it is carried by two people? in other words, what is point by two? What the scripture teach with the words of by two means it teaches the cluster of grapes was carried with two poles. Imagine the huge cluster of grapes carried by two people on their poles, and as a load and a load under the load. How is it conclusion arrived at? How the Gemora calculates it, because 8 of the spies carried a cluster of grapes. There were 12 spies. 10 spies, as we learned, they brought the fruit from Israel. Of course, their intention was to frighten the people, as we discussed, that to see how huge are the fruit and to put them, to frighten them. But what happened? 10 people carried. Oh, 8 people carried one bunch of grapes. In other words, that 8 people had with poles, and a bunch of grape was lying on the poles, carried by 8 people. I can show you a picture. How they, can you see that?
Yeah. Lift it up. That's better.
Can you see?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see, Rav. Yeah,
Let's see. Can you see?
we can see it. Very good, Rav. Kolakavod, yeah.
So they showed to other poles, 8 poles are stuck into them, and 8 people carried. So imagine those, of course, it says that according to the calculation that each person was capable of carrying under 20 seah, we can determine that the cluster of grapes measured 960 seah, since 8 people were needed to carry it. So something which is obviously frightening, unnatural thing. And this, of course, why they brought it. They wanted to frighten the people not to wish to go into Eretz Israel. Remember this of the story. They tried to frighten them not to go. And this was eventually a punishment. They died and so on. So this is the Gemora continues to say there are 12 people. 2 were Joshua and Caleb. And Joshua and Caleb did not participate in the carrying of the fruit. And now there is an attempt to give a reason why. If you prefer to say because they were very distinguished individuals and will not be fitting for them carry these burdens, or the other possibility, if you prefer, say, because they were not part of the plan of the other spies to discourage the Jews from entering Eretz Israel, because this, the purpose of the 8 people to carry that, to bring it to Eretz Israel, they had an intention to frighten them that they should.
Rav,
the way you're calculating, it's only 10. What happened to the other 2? Because if 8 carried the grapes, and Yeshua and Caleb didn't participate, that makes 10.
They crossed, and
Yes,
nothing happened to
but the
them.
numbers doesn't add up. You got 8 people carrying grapes. Caleb and Yeshua didn't participate. So that makes 10. What happened to the other 2? Because there were 12 spies.
The 2 is Caleb and Joshua.
No, that's 10.
They are
8 carried the grapes.
of the 12.
No, but there's got to be 12. What did the other 2 do?
The no other 2, they only
Yep.
2.
How many spies were there?
12.
Right. So
Joshua,
8 were carrying
Joshua and
grapes.
Caleb were part of the 12.
That's correct.
Okay.
So you're
10.
missing 2.
They are the 2.
No, you missing
Reuben,
2.
10 carry. Reuben, 10 carry.
8 carry, but you're missing 2.
Don't understand.
You
Together,
had
the
got to go
group,
up to 12 around.
listen. Together, of the group that went to spy, so to speak, were 12.
Right.
Among them was what made the 12? 10 people who carried the grapes and the other fruit, and 2, Caleb and Joshua, they didn't carry anything. And the
Okay, so you
reason
say
was,
10,
the
that's
reason
different.
which the Gemora says, either it wasn't to their carry, that wasn't distinguished for them to do it, or rather, even more logical, because they understood that the intention was to stop the people go. So of course they didn't want to be party to it. As later we know the story when the people came and they said, we can't, if you look in the story, they came back and they said to the people, look, we were there and we toured, and it's a nice place. It's got fruit, but they say, but look, this is unnatural stuff there, and we won't be able to conquer it. This was the whole purpose of them to bring in order to frighten the people. But of course, Joshua and Caleb then wouldn't be a party to it, because when they started to grumble and to say it won't be, so Joshua and Caleb, they stood up and they said to the people, nonsense, don't listen to them. We are going to conquer, and etc., etc. So this is what the whole spiel was. The 10 people, this is why the spies are mentioned in a derogatory way, because they came, the idea was to discourage, to cross the Jordan to come to Eretz Israel. What is the purpose? Why? There is, I don't know if the Gemora comes later to say why. Why would they, what was their interest to discourage? It says in the Gemora, because they were heads of the tribes in the desert, and they were afraid that when they cross to Eretz Israel, they will lose their positions. So this was a selfish thought. The end was that they died, unnatural died when after they told the story. So let's see if we can still continue to.
You've got about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
about
there is-
5 minutes. You're right, Ruben. Yeah.
Okay, there is a little continuation. The Braita recorded a dispute between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Elazar, the son of Rabbi Shimon, regarding the height of the column of water. What we said before, how high was it? Then the Gemora will discuss another dispute. Rabami and Rabbi Yitzchak Nafa disagree about it. One said that according to the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, who maintains that the water rose only to a height of 12 mil, equal to the length of the Israeli camp. I'm crossing now to the next page. They cross the Jordan in the same formation as the encamped, the all 12 tribes, but the other opinion of Rabbi Elazar, the son of Rabbi Shimon, maintained the water rose more than 300 mil. They cross the Jordan one person after the other, not together in the same thing, one by one. But those Rabbi Yehuda, Master Rabbi Elazar, son, agree that they cross the same information as their encampment. However, one matter Rabbi Yehuda maintains that many sifter and the other master, Rabbi Elazar, the son of Rabbi Shimon, maintain the water resource sifter. So therefore, there is a question, a dispute, how to esteem how was the wall of the water and so on. This is this thing which is not really important to us. Important to us was how they crossed the river and how the 10 people were slandering the land of Israel, and their intention of bringing the food was to show, to discourage them to walk to Israel, to look at the land. This land is unnatural, huge. We won't be able to survive. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Rav.
Rav, thank you very much, Rav. Thank you.
Okay. So
Thank you.
we finished at this point, and we will continue in Hashem, God willing, next Tuesday.
No, Thursday.
We'll go further.
Thursday, Rav.
Thursday, next
Have
Thursday.
a good night and a good Shabbos.
Shabbat Shalom.
Have a good
Thank you
Shabbos,
so
Rav.
much.
Everybody have a
All
good
to
Shabbos.
everyone. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbos.
Michael, are you okay? Michael?
I'm good. Thank God. Well, thank you very much, Rabbi.
Okay.
I'm very,
I don't know,
well,
actually.
I had a problem connecting to the internet just now, early on, but now.
I actually have to phone the doctor what happened to Galgut. Why Galgut is not...
He used to always join us.
I'll call to find out. Okay.
Okay, all
Have
the
a
best.
good night and a good Shabbos.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.